So this string of Christmas lights is going to be an example of a series circuit. So they all run through the same circuit. There's no multiple pathways. So if you just take out, one of them, they all go out because there are no multiple pathways for the current to keep traveling. Okay, so one of the biggest parallel circuits is obviously like a house, because you have your power box, and it's just all the voltage comes into here and then supplies it throughout the house. So even if I turn one of these off, other lights will still be on. So this is supplying the whole house. So if I came over here and I turn these lights out, I can still turn the kitchen lights on, but if I turn these out, I can still turn these back on. So I did the two examples. I saw for series, I did the Christmas lights, and for the parallel, I did the circuit breaker, the box, and it leads up to the house. So the main similarities for these two, for a series and parallel, is that it's electrical energy, and this can be converted into heat or light or sound or etc. Any of that. The main difference is that in a series, it's only one pathway, so that's when you saw me take out the light bulb. The whole thing would go out because there's only one pathway, so it has no other way to travel around. So if it goes out, the whole thing does. And but you saw me put it back in, and then the whole thing came back on. But that's not true for the parallel circuit, because there are multiple pathways in a house. Obviously, there's a lot. There's very many. So that's when I turned out the lights over the table, I could still turn on the kitchen lights, and vice versa. The current is always the same. It's the same anywhere in any path in a series, but for parallel, the current splits up and goes through different pathways, but then eventually comes back to the end and adds back up. Um, like I said, if if one bulb fuses, then the whole thing will go out in a series. But if one bulb fuses in a parallel, that's not a problem. It'll just take another pathway and meet back up at the end, and all the lights will still be on. Most of the brightness for the series filler is going to be dimmer because it all travels through one, and it'll be that's less current and voltage for each bulb. So, but that's not true for parallel. The resistance adds up in a series, and your battery will usually last longer in a series. And the total resistance is less than the least resistance in a parallel. So that means your battery life is going to be a lot shorter. And those are basically the main similarities and differences.